But as we discussed, something encouraging can be pulled out of this by Nihal. He just needs to tighten his openings with black. I feel like that's going to be one of the narratives, one of the storylines of the match. Can Nihal consistently get decent positions against Wesley's very dangerous repertoire?
Yeah, and game one already brings some shaky bits, I think, for both sides. Nihal blundering a very elementary tactic in the opening there, but Wesley not converting even close to what we would expect from him. So some nerves from both sides early on.
Indeed, and a reverse, I was about to say reverse King's Indian, but now it looks like a reverse Grunfeld with queen takes d4.
Wow.
This is some home cooking.
Queen h4, bishop h6, quick.
Oh, yeah. I don't see the queen going, oh, it's going to a4. I'm not predicting a single one of these moves. I don't know if anybody is rook d1. And I kind of like this. I feel like it's a very good practical weapon. White wants to play e4. And sometimes these positions, they look so great for black. You've got the center, you've got the fianchettoed bishop, but centers can fall apart.
Yeah, it's really easy to play those moves in blitz where you just basically attack stuff that's sitting in front of you on e5, on d5. It's really easy to put pressure, harder to defend.
Wesley a little vexed here, you can tell. Slight shake of the head. Do you see a satisfactory move here for black?
So the move is e4 that white wants to come with next, and
right
at some point you're probably going to need to play e6. I would think.
Yeah, and so go for some sort of isolated queen pawn. Wesley going a6 now. He's not really threatening b5 because maybe he wants to play e4 b5. So Nihal swinging his queen to the other side of the board first. Still e4 on the cards as well as bishop h6.
Right, and black's castled now, so there's no h6, whereas maybe if you went queen h4 on the previous turn, it would be met by h6 and g5. So perhaps this is kind of an intelligent move order.
Queen b6, the response by Wesley, trying to slow down the development of the dark-squared bishop. Of course, white could take d5, but that certainly comes with some associated risks. It allows black to develop very quickly bishop e6, rook d8. Good practical decision by Wesley. Nihal still takes, oh, bishop e6, there's knight g5. So wait a second, bishop e3. Bishop e3, queen c6, knight g5.
The queen on h4 is also hitting the knight. So there's also stuff like bishop e3, queen c6, rook c5. And like you're maybe losing that knight as well.
I think after knight b4, after bishop e3, it's virtually resignable. I mean, maybe Wesley has to take on e3, take on d5. Obviously, that's lost. Nihal sensing, I think that, you know, something has to be here, as the Russians say. There is something, yeah. And there it is, bishop e3, and Wesley immediately acknowledging the blunder.
Yeah, it's a blunder, but it's a blunder that can still pay off for Wesley. The dark square bishop is going to be pretty strong here, so I wonder if there's a concrete variation that Nihal can choose to go for here. Otherwise, I honestly think black has reasonable chances.
I agree. I mean, +3 seems to be very optimistic. Nihal is very seriously contemplating either queen takes b4 or knight g5.
Wow.
And knight g5 might be the reason it's +3. Amazing move. You're threatening checkmate. And the point is that the bishop now guards the rook. So you're going to get rid of black's knight, which was one of the main sources of black's compensation.
So h6, pawn takes e3, and then if you take on g5, it's rook takes g5, or queen takes b4 rather.
Whoops. Queen takes b4, and if you play knight takes d5, then knight takes f7, I think. Okay, Nihal deciding to take on d5.
Yeah, your knight f7 might have been it. That might have been it there.
I think knight f7 ended the game almost immediately, but this, of course, also quite dominant. Rook d1, I would play.
Gotta grab that b2 pawn. So white's pawns now are pretty bad, actually. And I think it's the presence of like h4, h5 that is really helping white out here. Otherwise, black's actually pretty solid.
Yeah, but this one pawn, right? The pawn that counts, that pawn is really good. I'm closing my eyes.
h4.
And going h4. I mean, queen e7 also looks pretty good, as does rook d8. But
So
I feel
I
like
wanted
Nihal
to
should just go for mate.
king g7 and bishop f6 on the previous turn, just to,
Uh-huh.
to kick that queen out a little bit and allow rook h8 to always be a move.
Definitely.
He played bishop.